Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Pony 411.
Oh no.
Yes, this is episode 289 for the month of March 2020. I am Alca7raz and joining me as normal is Nemesis.
Yo.
Yes, this is probably going to be an interesting episode.
Sometimes maybe a little uncomfortable too.
Yes, like I said, a very special episode. Our discussion is going to deal with some rather poignant and deep things. And it's going to delve into some serious discussion later. So that will be definitely fun. We do have some other things to talk about. We do have a fair bit of news to get through. We got a couple small discussion topics to get through before we get to the main point, some comics and stuff, and a wee little bit of fan content at the end. So we got a lot to get through, so let's get to this. Starting with the news, if you would like to follow along, and I recommend you do, you can find all of our show notes at pony411.libsyn.com/show notes. Remember, that's spelled Libsyn. So go there, click the link for this episode, and let's get into this. In convention news, BabsCon has announced Jeremy Whitley, Josh Haber, and Vincent Tong. All of them are showing up. Been announcing a lot lately.
Yeah, they're gearing up because I think they're in April.
Yep, that one's coming up soon. Everfree Northwest has open panel applications. In fandom news, Them's Fightin' Herd soundtrack is available in a couple different places, so.
Yeah, and they kind of revamped it too because of feedback.
Yeah, so they've been working on that, so if you like the music, which it is pretty good, so check those out. Links are in the show notes. Courage is Magic 2E version 4 has been released. This is a tabletop game similar to any other tabletop RPG game. Dungeons and Dragons with ponies kind of thing.
Apparently, it's a way more complex version than like Tales of Equestria.
Yeah, so if you are like super nerd, you have that. In merchandise news, Hasbro and Max Group has set up a deal to make plush toys, and this is out the EMEA region. Yeah, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So if you're in those areas, you may look forward to those. More official plush merchandise.
Yep.
Kotobukiya has made a couple announcements. First off is the Rainbow Dash Kotobukiya figure is available for pre-order. Very excited for this and already had it pre-ordered almost as soon as I was able to.
That's not the important one, though.
And you think it's important, but it's kind of a thing. Sunset Shimmer was also announced.
Yeah!
They also did show a fully colored version of the Applejack.
No, but back to Sunset, though.
But yes, Sunset. It's only a silhouette, no prototypes.
But they announced it. They said this day would never come. What did they just say now?
I got to use that. Now it's your turn to use that phrase too? Yes. How many times have we used that phrase over the course of this podcast?
I don't know, at least 10.
So yes, a lot of excitement on the Kotobukiya side of things. Hasbro has revealed a new Kiss My Unicorn Celestia figure.
That's rude.
Quite the interesting title.
You blow kisses at Celestia.
Yes,
and then she responds.
Yes, it's an interactive figure.
I am concerned.
You are giving me a frighten. Yes, so that and a Unicorn Sparkle Collection set has also been announced.
Yes.
So, and that's in like the
which has 3 good ponies and 2 bad ones.
Here we're gonna go.
Always.
Yeah. So, and they're and all of these are in the pony lifestyle. Pony lifestyle.
My pony death style.
Also, some other new items have also appeared at the New York Toy Fair, because that is a thing that has happened. Not a huge amount of stuff pony-wise came out of that.
Nope.
Basically, just some new singles, brushables, and stuff like that.
New versions.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. Nothing big.
And New York Toy Fair was, if you're a pony fan, was not much of anything.
Yeah.
If you're a Transformers fan, it was huge, though.
Oh, there was a ton of Transformers stuff, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Are we?
As much as you might want to.
Or are we?
We have other things to talk about.
Oh, like...
Oh, right. In comic news, we have a My Little Pony Transformers crossover graphic novel being announced. So, yes, I guess we are going to talk about Transformers. So, yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
4-issue miniseries, all coming out in the month of May.
Yep. And it's already up for pre-order on Amazon.
Yeah, the graphic novel is.
The graphic novels, because there's a graphic novel and Yeah,
the graphic novel collection will be coming out in the fall.
Yep.
And also, it is pre-ordered, at least a TFA. I can pre-order that. I did that on Thursday night.
Of course you did.
Fortunately, they don't have the retailer incentive ones up for pre-order quite yet. And of course, of the retailer incentives, only one of them I wanted. I want the Pinky throwing a pie into Shockwave's face.
Yeah.
I want that one. That's a retailer incentive. Apparently, though, it's going to be like with the Fiendship is Magic, which is good luck.
Oh, yeah, I heard it's like really difficult. There's some of them like
1 in 100.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. Same number.
Yeah, there's some limitations on how to get it in. They have to have
the
a
comic shop
order.
has to order minimum 25 of all 4 issues to get the one retailer incentive comic.
Yeah, so good luck. That thing's going to be worth a lot, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fun stuff. Transformers fans hate it. Some of them do.
Yeah, some of them do.
But that's not new for Transformers fans. So yes, those 4 issues, we have synopses and covers for them as well. You can go find the pictures because I can't describe a picture. But
sure you can.
Oh, I can, but that's not what we do. We're words. Anyway, we do have synopses for the 4 issues. They are as follows. Issue 1. When Queen Chrysalis casts a spell looking for more changelings, she accidentally interferes with a malfunctioning space bridge. What's this mean for our favorite fillies? There are suddenly a bunch of Autobots and Decepticons in Equestria, and as the dust settles, Rarity and RC. Thank you, RC find themselves teaming up against a hostile Decepticon force.
You uncultured swine!
Hey! I've never seen these. I've heard you talk about them all the time, but I've never seen them in writing.
I showed you the movie.
Yes, but I've never seen their names in writing. Issue 2. It's Spike and Grimlock's time to shine as they take on the Decepticons. Meanwhile, Pinkie Pie is determined to share as much knowledge about equestrian and Autobot cuisine as possible with her new friends, which is why she invites Gage to her kitchen for a live baking show. But things get a bit too spicy when Shockwave shows up.
This is highly illogical.
Autobot cuisine. What do robots eat?
Energon.
What does that taste like?
I don't know, like Energon.
Issue 3. When Fluttershy and Discord's tea time is interrupted by Soundwave, it's robot logic versus whimsical chaos, and Dash, sure that she can fly faster than any Autobot can drive, finds herself in a race with the one only Windblade. Let's just hope Crasher and his Decepticon friends don't make things too dangerous. And issue number 4. When the Insecticons descend upon Sweet Apple Acres and begin devouring the Apple family's crop, it's up to AJ and her siblings to rally to save the farm. Meanwhile, Optimus Prime and Twilight Sparkle finally band together, and the ponies and the Autobots to get things back to normal. The finale you've been waiting for is here. Yeah.
Twilight and Optimus.
Yeah. Twilight and Optimus, your 2 favorites. And we also have synopsis and cover for Friendship is Magic issue number 90. Sometimes friendship can be hard work, and that's what Zakora is discovering as she reunites Marini, Dust Devil, Cactus Rose, Medley, Brook, and Crystal. But just as the past is being revealed and old hurts are being brought to light, an attack by the fearsome Groot slang puts Zakora's hometown in danger.
Yep.
Zakora's hometown.
Yeah.
Yeah, some backstory.
The second part of the first. Yeah.
Yes.
And there's a goo pony. Oh dear.
Yes, there's a goo pony.
Oh no.
That was a thing.
That's the thing now. I do not like this. SMIM.
No, shut up, it's fine. In Friendship is Magic and other non-Equestria Girls news, the My Little Pony website and YouTube page are now prominently featuring pony life. So it's not just a passing thing, it's happening.
Doomed.
And a whole bunch more of those Stop Pony Stop pony. Stop motion pony videos are out.
Yeah, there was a fashion show and a Valentine's Day card thing with Fluttershy and Pinky, and then a pillow fight.
There's a pillow fight, and then there's
the
cake thing.
Yeah, Dash pranks Pinky.
And it's a perfectly harmless prank this time.
Mm-hmm.
And the G5 movie has a release date now for the UK, Netherlands, and Turkey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was... This whole monthly news thing kind of weirded me out. I was like, oh yeah, I saw that like a month ago.
God, this feels like it was ages ago.
Right.
But yeah, so that's October 13th, 15th, and 22nd for the Netherlands, UK, and Turkey, respectively. In 2021, by the way.
Yeah. Gonna be well.
Yeah. And in Hearts and Hooves Day, Hello Pinkie Pie short has been released as well.
Yep. The CG one.
Yep.
The CG talk show.
Yep. It's a thing.
Yep. Gummy makes Pinky cry because he's such a heartfelt Valentine.
Aww. Anyway, that is the news. So, moving on to discussion stuff, we do have a couple comic things to start with.
Yeah. Definitely have a couple of them. Including technically not, well, it's not MLP.
It's not comic. MLP, but there are horses.
Yeah, well, they're unicorns.
Which are a kind of horse.
Mythical creature.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, it's a comic we got called Firewake. It's written by Devin McBride Wilson, with pencils, colors, and lettering by Joseba Morales, pencils by Todd McMoshier, and flat colors by Rob Cloma. And just full disclosure, we got this for free as a review copy.
Yes, full disclosure.
Yeah, so we did not pay for this one. It's a story about a unicorn cop.
Yes.
He's in his 40s, has a family and everything. He's taking down an old kind of 2-bit gang who are just going around robbing banks and whatnot. And yeah, it's the story of that. And for some reason, they're way more powerful than they should be because the unicorns in this world have magic and it's like this. Yeah, so it's kind of a weird, like cyberpunk-esque world. Yeah, this review is going to be a little different than usual because the whole bunch of stuff. I can't just assume you know things.
Yes. Yeah,
this world. Let's see. Yeah, this detective is named Firewake.
Firewake.
Yeah. He's been on the police force for a while time. Let's see. He's got a rookie partner named Zaffa. So the whole thing is this robbers, and it turns out there's this dark shadowy figure who's kind of, enlisted them in his schemes or whatever, the good old, what do we get out of it? Your life. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with living. Yeah, and it apparently takes place in the world of Zazema. There's a whole thing in the back of this, which is helpful.
Yes.
Because it gives you a little bit more backstory, because, yeah, it's like... kind
of throws you into the middle of it, so...
Yeah, which is a good way to do it, I think, but...
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. It's a narrative tool.
Yeah. Okay, so... I think first things first, the art's pretty nice for the most part. I think for me, it's just kind of... There's that weird thing of just... It's very, realistic-looking horse-type creatures. So that's a personal hang-up.
Yeah, it's a different style than what we're used to.
Yeah, for me, it's like... So yeah, it's kind of realistic horse-ish figure, but they also have like bright colors and whatnot. Like, hey, look, there's one that's red and like a pale yellow, and there's one that's just straight up like a golden yellow, and so on and so forth. So you got they're all unicorns. They got like technology, they got magic and technology. It's like a techno magic thing.
Yeah.
So like they have like a wrist-mounted like weapon of sorts, and the cars, they look kind of vaguely like real cars at times, and other times it looks like it came out of RoboCop or something.
I was thinking Blade Runner, but yeah, same basic idea.
Yeah, they can hover around and whatnot, But yeah, it's kind of a weird cyberpunk-esque world. But yeah, art. Yeah, I think the art does a really good job of conveying that. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Some of it's like I think it just comes down to there's the awkwardness of artists not really knowing how to do quadrupeds super well. It's kind of like how do you make a quadruped look good in this situation type
thing.
It can be trying. I can get that. Like I know a lot of the pony artists kind of struggled initially until they got a hang of it. Now somebody that can do pony real well and not bipeds anymore.
Yeah, I think one of the things there is you're used to drawing things that and when you're drawing the world and like buildings and furniture and stuff like that, bipedal furniture, and that's what's ingrained in your head. So when you're drawing quadrupeds, you can be kind of, how does this work with the world?
Yeah, like they're in their cars. How do these work? How do these horses work? Or
how does a horse sit on a chair?
How do they sit in the car and drive it? And I noticed it's kind of this kind of stand in it. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I remember that was actually, I vaguely remember that was like a thing in Animorphs, and talking about the Andalites and how their furniture is very different.
Yeah, because they're quadrupeds.
They're centaurs. They're quadrupeds.
Yeah. Story-wise, I have to say, it's not, okay, I'm going to be honest, it's not the most amazing, per se. It works, and it's kind of, to me, it kind of feels like Saturday morning cartoon plus, in a way. It kind of has that feeling to it. It's a little more, it's like someone took a Saturday morning cartoon and kind of made it a little darker. Not a lot, not super dark, but it's just a little dark. The stakes are a little higher. There's, it's not like just the, everyone's fine at the end of the episode or whatever type stuff, or we need to impart a good moral lesson for the kids type thing. But, it does have still kind of that kind of setup and feel of a Saturday morning cartoon, which not exactly necessarily a bad thing. That's not a bad thing per se. That can be pretty entertaining. I think I'm seeing this as there's definitely a lot of potential in this world and story I'm seeing.
Yes,
it does hit a couple of the kind of buddy cop cliches a little bit.
Nothing wrong with following tropes, just as long
a little
as
bit, but there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But yeah, you got the old grizzled guy with the young upstart partner.
Yep.
I was a bit with I almost expected he has as a family, and they established the wife and 2 kids. I was half expecting, like, there's a point where I was half, oh god, here it is. Here's the motivation. They're gonna
die. Seeing that too. It's like, they're either gonna kidnapped or injured, die or something like that.
And who knows? Or the wife dies and the kids get kidnapped type thing. That sort of thing.
Who knows? This is only part 1.
Yeah, it's only part 1. So issue 2 is not out. It's. I'm not sure what the release schedule is going to be for this, but yeah, it is decent. I think it's just one of the things. It's like it can improve. I've seen many things start off rough and go amazing places.
Yeah, it definitely has potential.
Yeah, it definitely has the potential to be fun. I don't know if it's me, but it does feel like there's some maybe some MLP influence here and there, just minor.
I mean, they're unicorns.
Which makes sense. Including the whole magic thing. They just can do magic. That's just how it is. And there's like different rankings for different magic levels and whatnot, and including a mythical alpha level, which I'm pretty sure that's going to be a thing later.
Yeah,
based on the way they drop that.
That's a Chekhov's gun right there.
Yeah, so because they do a pretty good job of interweaving, explaining the world a little bit whilst telling the story. So that's a pretty good thing as well.
Uh-huh.
Would I recommend picking this up? Say if you're looking for something, well, I guess not pony, but maybe. It kind of depends what you're looking for, really.
You can go with a lot of things.
Yeah, if you're looking for slice of life, so this is not slice of life.
This is not slice of life.
This is very much going to be a serial adventure. And it can be fun. And at this point, I think it shows a lot of promise. It's a little rough. There is also a couple things like typesetting issues, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Typos. The actual printing quality is good. Actual paper and printing quality are very good. But yeah, it's a little on the rough side, but there's a lot of potential here, and I can see a lot. I can see this going really good places as long as the artist and the writer all keep up. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing the line. Keep improving.
That sort of thing. I've seen a lot. Big example thing for me is like Steven Universe started off pretty rough, but it found its footing and it went to play amazing places. I think this is the sort of thing. It starts a little rough. You can see it. You can see you can see where it can go.
Yeah.
So I think if you're willing to give it a shot, it's available. It's from Rabbit Valley Press. As of right now, the issues are I think $11 each because right now they're only offering signed copies. But you can get it if you want. I don't think there's any digital version as of now. I'm not entirely certain on that. They're apparently an independent, furry publishing comic company. Rabbit Valley Comics. Yeah, you can search rabbitvalley.com. You can go there. You can buy it there if you want. Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting little thing if you want to check that out. If it's not pony stuff, I'll go ahead and put a link in the show notes for it so you can go see for yourself if you want. But yeah, there's also a little preview for the issue 2 with a little potential summary at the end. So yeah, And, of course, little bios and stuff, just to give you a little taste of the world in general in this comic. So, I know this is a bit of a longer thing than usual, but it's kind of different. It's not MLP, so we have to go a little longer on it.
It's special.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, go ahead and check it out. Give it a shot. I know it's a little spendy, but as of right now, I think they definitely need to offer a cheaper alternative, because it's going to be hard to get people to spend $11 on a comic they don't know much about.
Yeah.
But as it stands, they're $11 or $12. But yeah, any which way, as it stands, I think it's a rough but promising start.
Yep. I'll echo those statements.
Yeah, I think I took over the whole thing.
Yeah. We do have some other stuff to talk about too.
Yeah, but we also got an actual pony comic too.
We do actually have a pony comic.
Moving on to, I guess, more known things. Friendship is Magic number 87, which is written by Ted Anderson with art by Coney Fleece and colors by Heather Breckel. Let's see, and it starts off, oh no, let's see, a pony steals something from the Dragonlands, and then turns out Dash is now in the, where is it? The Daytona Breach race. And apparently kind of, hey, look, it's kind of like NASCAR, and turns out Big Mac used to race it back in the day. And so Rainbow Dash convinces him to help train her for this, because it's a cart pulling race.
Yep.
Not a flying race, because a flying, well, why would, yeah.
Yeah.
And they get to the Daytona and whatnot, and turns out there's an old friend of /rival Big Mac's, and there's a big old evil conspiracy by the guy who stole the idol, who wants use the race as a cover to smuggle it into the Yakistan where the dragons won't follow. And it turns out, Big Mac's history of the race is a little more complicated than we initially realized, and so on and so forth. And now Big Mac has been entered in the race, and that's the beginning of all this stuff.
Yep.
Also, they've got those weird gremlin things back again. From way back when, if you remember those. The weird gremlin thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an interesting start, to say the least. Again, it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. There's a lot of weird plot threads on this one.
Yeah, there's multiple story threads going on.
So I'm not sure how. Because I believe this is only a 2-issue arc. So it's gonna be. I'm wondering how that's all gonna.
How they're gonna tie all the arcs into one,
and not completely
just rush it. Yeah.
Because it's like we've seen multiple. We've seen 2 arcs or 2 story arcs things kind of be bungled in a 4-issue series. So I don't know. It was interesting though. It's hey, look, they basically more or less kind of based it on somewhat on the NASCAR origins of moonshine running.
Yep.
And now it's they're hauling cider to Yakistan, but now it's just a race where they just carry weighted carts. Oh, yeah, and Spike's there.
Oh yeah, Spike's there.
Spike's there.
Spike's the translator.
Yeah, for Big Mac, because he's
Big
learned to
talk.
He's learned to talk for the big guy. But it's interesting. I will say also, Tony Fleece hasn't quite figured out how to draw yaks yet.
Wow.
Yona looks a little weird sometimes. Oh yeah, and there's dragons there because they're looking for the little bauble that was stolen. And of course, there's the whole thing. Oh, guess what? Turns out the minion for the bad guy also accidentally put the bauble on the wrong cart. Oh no!
Oh no!
That's how our heroes are getting involved in this nonsense.
Yep.
Basically, it's Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo, pulling that out.
Was that the one with the giant diamond that got tossed in the gas tank?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep, that's the one.
Exactly, the exact thing. Surprised you were.
Hey, I've seen some of those Herbie movies.
I've seen them all.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen them all. It's been a long time.
I adored them when I was a kid. Well, I adored the first 2 anyway, but yeah. It's interesting. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes with issue 88.
Yeah.
We'll see how it wraps up and whatnot, and then we'll tell you whether or not this arc is worth it.
Yep.
And that'll be next month, I believe. Yeah, that'll be next month. Yeah. That's the comics. So, moving on. Yes.
We have our final main discussion.
The big one.
So, like I said, very special episode. We don't usually talk about stuff like this.
We have before, though. We have, but...
No, that's why I said usually. So, I guess let's just start right off with the what and the why of
what's
this
going
whole
on.
thing.
What's going on? What is the actual topic?
There's a problem in our fandom.
You don't say.
Yeah, there's a fault in our fandom. It's been there for a while, and we've all kind of known about it, but recently it's once again been pulled up to the surface, dredged up. Quick summary on what happened. Anon the Anon drew a very, very racist picture as a gift for another artist. Yeah. That's pretty much...
And then people called him out on it.
Exactly. It got called out on it, and people doubled down on saying, no, that's not racist. Yeah, and started defending them, and it's... Yeah.
Now we're jumping into the fray.
Now we're putting our own... Sticking our own necks out there.
Some people are going to be mad with us now.
Yeah, I'm quite expecting some people to be upset with us.
Yeah, like the time we brought up Forever Free.
Yes.
Some people got pissed off about that one.
Yes.
We're not talking about just the picture, though.
It's not just the picture. The picture is just what brought this up. But like I said, there's been a problem for a very long time. I guess it kind of starts really with the origin of the fandom, where it came from. The fandom originated out of 4chan. 4chan is not a good place. It really isn't. It's a cesspool. I've always considered it a cesspool. It's full of a whole bunch of people who use their anonymity just to get away with doing whatever they want. Sometimes anonymity can be a good thing, but these people just use it to be racist jerks all the time, and no one can stop them. And what little moderation there is on that site, because guess what? There actually is. You never know it, but there is.
Yeah.
It just lets it happen. I think we can just talk about Wootmaster. Wootmaster is because Wootmaster made a couple threads. A couple threads that really dug into the depths of this and like where it came from and what it means, and it was actually a really good thread. And this is probably where a bunch of people are going to immediately stop listening to us and start yelling at us because I'm basically saying Wootmaster was right.
Yep.
So there's a whole bunch of racists and otherwise in the fandom, and they've been there. And we've been letting them exist as a fandom at large. We've been just kind of ignoring them.
Because, well...
For a number of reasons. It is a tough thing to talk about and not very good with words. So feel free to jump in if you have particular topics.
Feel free to jump in.
Feel quite free to. So why doesn't the fandom do anything about it? There's a number of reasons, I would think.
There's a lot going on.
It's kind of tough to really narrow things down because everyone's going to have their own reasons and stuff like that to why they do, why they don't. But I think a lot of what we see on why is that a lot of the fandom just doesn't want to acknowledge problems.
Yeah, that's a big one.
They don't want to acknowledge the problems, and they want everything to be happy and non-confrontational. There's another term that
I use ponies to get away from this garbage.
Yeah. The ponies are my escape. It's happy. It makes me feel good. I don't want to feel bad.
I don't want to think about this. Non-confrontational. And to some degree, I understand that. It makes sense why you don't want to deal with it. I myself am very much a non-confrontational person. I don't deal with conflict very well. I get anxiety from it, and it makes me feel kind of depressed. It's probably something that I need to see someone about, but I know I'm not going to be alone in that. A lot of us just really can't handle that, but a lot of us just can and should. There's another term I don't really want to use. It gets thrown out around the fandom on how we don't want to bring up problems to deal with them, but it's actually an insult against autism. So right, yeah, that one.
Yeah, non-confrontational, I guess, is the best way to say it. But the weird one is a lot of them, when you try to bring it up, they will get very angry and shut you down.
Yeah,
in sort
Stop
of
creating drama.
And they will be confrontational, trying to be non-confrontational as well.
Aggressively non-confrontational.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. it also kind of brings up the be civil.
Civility.
Yeah.
Civility.
That's the another response. There's the one, no one can talk about any drama. Everything always has to be happy, and anyone who brings up drama or bad things, has to be silenced or whatnot. There's that, but there's also the, you have to be civil about this. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Be civil. This is not a new thing.
No.
And it's not something sold to our fandom.
Nope. That's a very big thing in general right now.
Yes. It's really interesting and it comes up usually when you're dealing with someone who's being progressive or a side of things that are progressive versus someone who's not.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the progressive versus non-progressive arguments and people. The progressives all tend to have the argument within themselves over, you have to be civil. You've got to be civil. You can't do that. Be civil. But the ones who aren't don't have that. They don't have to be civil. And it's this weird... What's the word I'm looking for? It's weird that one side has to do it and the other doesn't.
Yeah. Double standard.
Thank you. Double standard. That's the word I was looking for. Double standard. And it's really interesting because, like I said, this isn't new.
No.
There's, what's this? There's a French, Jean-Paul Sartre, was talking literally about this back, from the early 1900s into the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Was saying this was a thing that, French, within the French and the Democrats would say, I have to be civil when dealing with anti-Semites. You have to be civil against the anti-Semites. But the anti-Semites don't have to be civil.
Yeah, it's this idea that comes from this thing that you have to be nice to be good.
Right, yeah.
And if you give in, start being insulting or angry or anything, by doing so, you are undermining your own argument. Right. Is the idea.
Yeah, or you're stooping to their level.
Yeah.
Or you have to be better than them. And again, to some degree, I understand this. But that doesn't work.
Yeah.
They're depending on you to be civil.
Yeah,
because then you're ineffectual.
Yeah. And they can undermine you in every regard. The thing is, the calls for civility are often brought from the more aggressive side of things, because what they kind of it's a weird acknowledgement of, they know you're supposed to be the better person, so they're kind of trying to get you to do that. They're basically trying to get into under your skin and go, you're supposed to be a better person than this, so why aren't you being one right now? Why aren't you being better? You're supposed to be better than this. They go low, we go high. That thing.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole idea is like, and a lot of the thing is, a lot of us, including myself, are kind of like, you know what? Screw that. I'll jump in the mud and fight them too.
Yes.
I will go down to that level and I will fight, because at this point, it's kind of that. Yeah, you can't. A lot of this, because the idea is also you can reason with them. If you're civil, you can reason them into a better position. It's like, no, you just have to fight them. At this point, sometimes it's just there is no reasoning. It's just you got to fight them and sometimes shout them down and tell them to go away and deplatform all that stuff.
Yes,
it's
you can't. They're depending on you to be civil.
Yeah, because
if you try and be civil, they have two options. Either one, they just completely ignore you because now you're not going to do anything to them.
Yep.
You're just going to talk at them. You're not actually going to stop them. And then if you don't, they'll yell at you like, "Oh, look, so much for the tolerant left."
Mm-hmm. Or the other thing, which is they will do the thing of now they're depending on you being civil, because they can be civil too, and they can bring disgusting ideas out in a civilized manner, making them look better than they actually are.
Yeah,
that's the other tactic.
Yes,
is that's the thing. Is like the race. The white supremacists kind of starting getting nice haircuts and fancy suits, makes themselves look better. Mm-hmm. They present their discussing ideas in a civilized fashion, and now they don't look so bad.
They don't look so bad, even though they really are.
But then they point to the people who are saying, screaming at them about how racist they are and whatnot, and says, "Look how they're acting."
But they're such nice people.
Yeah, look how nice they are. Yeah.
See, they're civil. They can't be that bad.
Yeah,
but they really are. There's also the whole problem of what they're discussing and what they're bringing forth to the civil discussion table.
Mm. The marketplace of ideas.
The free marketplace of ideas. But no, it's like, and they're also, looking for compromise. That's the other thing, is the left always wants to compromise in order to be civil, but you're compromising on platforms of, we should let people live, and no, we should kill people. You don't compromise on these topics.
Maybe the truth is in the middle.
Like,
we just cut off all their legs.
No. Like, you present your really, really, really bad arguments, these civil ways to get it's just
because a lot of people will go with things based on motions rather than actual. They don't really listen to what you're saying; they listen to how you're saying it. Which
right,
is really
that is a big thing. How you really present your arguments, you can present them. This nice, detailed, long description that actually means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But it sounds good. So that's what you remember.
Or at least it sounds nicer.
Yeah, it sounds nicer. It sounds like you know what you're talking about. But you can't, it doesn't really make any sense, but you don't remember the details. You just remember it sounded right.
But
and it felt right.
Tying us back into the whole situation, I guess.
Yeah.
What happened was, people got understandably upset about the fact that zebras are being used to represent black people, including stereotypes like watermelon and whatnot.
Yep.
Eating all that stuff. And people, not understandably, got angry about it. And, they weren't very civil about it. Not surprising, because I wouldn't be civil either.
No, it's a huge problem.
And then there was the calmly try to explain away, people trying to defend it, trying to calmly defend it.
It's just a picture. It's not that
joke.
big deal. It's just a joke, bro.
What joke? There's no joke there. There's literally no joke.
Yeah.
It's just racism.
Yeah.
Unless you find the whole concept of racism itself.
Do you find racism itself funny?
Or being racist? I don't know. Because there's no commentary. There's no there's nothing like that. There's no nuance. There's no commentary. There's nothing. It's just straight up racism. And
exactly. That's
the thing is, like, you can use racist stuff in order to make a point or make fun of the racists or whatever. Like Mel Brooks made a whole career about basically making fun of Nazis by doing stuff that looked really racist.
Or
Blazing
Jojo
Saddles
Rabbit.
specifically.
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. Or
just came out.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles specifically, if we're going into the black people specifically. Blazing Saddles used a lot of racism in it to just show just how ridiculous racists look. That was the whole point.
Yes. You can't just draw a racist picture and say it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And say it's fine because it's a joke.
Yeah,
it's like you're not making a commentary against racism. There's nothing in this picture that's showing, hey, see how bad racism is? Isn't racism stupid? If you're using racist topics to show, like you said, that racism is stupid, you're making a commentary on it, and then, okay, that's not as bad. That's more proper. But that's not what this picture was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing is, this is one of the things that I think another reason why the fandom is partially averse, because some of them just don't even realize what's going on.
Right.
The dog whistle.
The dog whistle. Yes.
Yeah, the dog whistle, which, if you don't know, dog whistling is when you are saying something in a very kind of slick manner that if you aren't in the know, you won't catch it. But if you are in the know, quote unquote, you know exactly what they're doing. It's a wink to people who think like you.
Coded language.
Yeah.
Is what that is. They're code words and things like that, euphemisms.
Yeah, and sometimes there are often things that are genuinely innocuous, but they've been hijacked so they can get away with getting signals out to like-minded people.
Sometimes they're not even actively thought about. It's not like it's people start using them not really understanding that they are a actual code word or a dog whistle. Some of that's just what they're used to.
The thing is, when the part of the reason dog whistles are used is because if someone calls out the dog whistle and says, "Hey, I know what you're doing," they say, "What are you talking about? This doesn't mean anything. You just see racism everywhere. You're being irrational and crazy." Like the little okay sign people were doing.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, that became a bit of a problem for a while because, they co-opted it. They put you using the emoji like on tweets and stuff, and or putting in pictures like photos and whatnot. And then people are like, Pakano, I know what you're doing. It's like, it's just a hand symbol. It doesn't mean anything. It just means okay. What are you freaking out about?
Yep.
And that was the whole idea. That's
and that
how they do it.
particular one was even worse because it was co-opted.
Yeah.
It's not like some of the other dog whistles out there that are original. Like, people talk about, the globalist elites.
Yeah, that one. That's a big one. And also another one that actually kind of slips under a lot of people's radars. Again, getting back to this topic, this specific brand bigotry. Yeah. Thugs. The bad neighborhood.
Yep.
That sort of thing. Or
one of the good ones.
That one.
There's
that
one
sort
of
the
good ones.
You get all those little coded things, which, this here thug just makes you think of criminal, but a lot of people, it's like, this is one of the subconscious things.
Yeah, you think a thug, it's just a criminal, but what's the image that first popped in your head?
Yeah, what's the first thing that pops in your head? Because it's been kind of ingrained in you. A lot of this stuff is societal and systemic, and so you don't really catch on to it. And that's another thing, which is a lot of people don't realize racism is because, they do it. And racism, it's a weird thing. It's like,
wait,
we were taught when you're young.
Yeah. I do that, so it can't be racist because I'm
we're
not
taught when you're young.
racist.
Racism is bad.
Racism is bad.
Correct.
Exactly.
But we aren't taught the nuance about it, or the systemic stuff and the subtle things that we don't really think about. We just say basically racist equal, the KKK and whatnot.
Yeah, we only think the really
that's what we think of.
Ones.
We don't think about the other things. So it's like, hey, that thing you did, hey, you know how you cross the street because for, there's no reason. You just cross the street because you saw someone
next to that person and you didn't know why, you just didn't like it.
Or you drive down a certain street and then usually you don't lock your doors, but this time you do. This street you do.
Because there was a certain person walking by.
Yeah, exactly, that sort of thing. But
you don't do it when other people walk by.
And someone points it out to you, and then what happens is, that wasn't racist because I'm not racist because I'm not a bad person.
Are you calling me racist? I'm not racist. And they get angry.
And that's the whole thing, is basically you said that was racist, that in their brain that equals you're a bad person.
Yeah, and
they
you
freak
think
out.
That if someone says, hey, that thing was racist, you interpret that as you are a racist.
Well, more specifically, you are a bad person.
Yeah.
So then your brain goes, no. Then your brain does interpret it as more or less the same as this was as an actual physical attack.
Yeah,
and then it gets hyper defensive and goes no, and then shuts down. And then it's really hard to get past that. It's really difficult just immediately not do the knee jerk. What you're talking about. And like everyone does it. Everyone has done it. I've done it.
Yes.
You've done it.
Yes.
We have just without even thinking about it because it's so ingrained.
It is human
nature. Not just
nature.
that, but just being racist and stuff.
Oh yeah,
bigotry in general. Just stuff you don't even realize, and we've all done it and 2 degrees, and
especially for those of us who have grown up in rather conservative families.
Mm-hmm. What's something that's reinforced?
It gets reinforced, and we don't even think about it. We learn it as children, and the things we learn as children, it's indoctrination. We don't ever think about it.
There's a neighborhood in Bremerton which has a reputation for being bad. And every time we drove through it, my mom would lock all the doors in the car. Every time. And I didn't pick up on that for a long time. I mean, me personally, I've locked my doors all the time because there's a button on my key fob which can open the door. So I leave the door locked just in case I bump it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to open the, go driving the time by 60 miles an hour. Oh no. Oh no.
That door just so fun.
Yeah. So it's this stuff like that. It's like we need, people don't like to, and that's the thing is, there is a degree of ignorant bigotry, which I think everyone is guilty of at some point or another.
Yes.
But then there's malicious bigotry.
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty important topic in this whole one. And unfortunately, this is a very important part, but a very, very difficult part. Mm-hmm. We're getting into some of the nitty-gritties on how to deal with individual people. Unfortunately, people are messy.
Yeah.
And therefore, anything that deals with individual people is messy. There is no one-size-fits-all answer on how to do any of this, but it needs to be thought about. There needs to be active thought on all of this because it is important. There is some nuance in how people are racist and bigots, and there's a couple things that I think it really comes down to. Intent and consequence.
Yeah.
Consequence is an important part that kind of counters the intent. Did someone intend to do this bad thing?
Yeah.
Does that intent actually change your response?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Let's say, for example, Anon the Anon didn't know.
Somehow.
I don't think that's somehow. Let's just, for the sake of argument, say they didn't know and they honestly did not intend. And at this one, the intend to do harm, you could still say Anon the Anon probably didn't intend. But I don't know Anon the Anon, and it's kind of questionable here. But let's just, for the sake of the argument, say they did not intend to do harm.
Right.
Does that mean you don't confront the problem? No, because there are consequences.
Mm-hmm.
There's, even if you do not intend to cause harm or you unknowingly cause harm, it doesn't mean you can't just ignore the problem and say, oh, they just didn't mean to, it's fine, just ignore it. You have to bring this up. Because if you don't, it will get worse. Because people who do intend to harm
will pick up on it and
will start to come in.
Yep. And they do that. That's the other thing they like to. Fandoms like ours, with a bunch of introverts who are often lonely and have a hard time connecting to other people, and sometimes our only friends are online, or most of our friends are online. We kind of see this thing, and there's the sense of belonging. Sure, there's to the fandom, but then there's people we maybe make friends with in the fandom who have these viewpoints. They hide them. That's the thing. They all hide them.
Because racism is bad.
Yeah, they'll hide them for a while, but they'll subtly bring it in. They'll say, they'll make an edgy joke, and it's just a joke. And at first it's like, okay, fine. They just kind of overstepped it, and then they just kind of introduce things, and then it stops being a joke. And you kind of think they are trying to influence you, so then you start doing it, and then you start propagating the same ideas that they are.
It's just a joke.
At least initially, and then eventually you start legitimately believing, and the next thing you know, you're at Charlottesville.
We are what we pretend to be.
Yeah, but the other thing is, ignorant, and you have to. But the thing is, handling them is different as how to respond. Because like if it's ignorant, you kind of want to be a little gentler.
Yes, if someone
can blow up in your face just because immediate, you can still
exactly. If someone honestly did not intend to do harm, you have to treat it as that. You need to confront it, so you try and make this not happen again. Because if it's just ignorance, they need to be informed. But you don't jump down someone's throat immediately. Like, if someone does this thing and okay, they're ignorant, you don't say, oh, you're a horrible person. How did you? You should never have done this, you horrible person. That's going to make the problems worse. That's going to be like, they're going to immediately respond with defense. I'm not a horrible person. You are. And they're just going to dig in their heels, and they're just going to continue. And basically, you're going to push them into actually becoming a horrible person. But every person, even the ignorant ones, are going to respond differently. So you can't use... It's really, really difficult. If someone did actually intend to cause harm...
Malice.
If it is malicious... Well, then
it's a whole different story.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's the point. They're pretty far gone. And
the difference in how you handle it is more to do with the platform that you happen to be on.
For me, kid guns are off.
Yeah, it's just block, depending on how if it's on a forum, ban. If you have
warn others.
And warn others. Call out posts can be a thing.
Yeah,
remember the call out is super powerful.
It's a weapon that should be. Yeah, you also be used very carefully.
You can't just use call outs just for any little thing. It is very powerful.
There's a lot of stuff which you really don't want to push that hard because it was just a genuine mistake. But
yes,
that's the other thing. Is like sometimes it's like how they follow up to when they've been called out. How they follow up.
Yes,
and that's a big problem. Is okay, they've been called out on their thing. Someone did it gently even. And okay, how do they respond?
They throw up the middle fingers. Cut.
Yep.
They're gone.
They're gone. Okay. They've decided to double down.
They're not accepting this right now.
They're not doubling down.
At that point, that's a cut from your group. You're not going to get through to them no matter what you do. And the more you try, it's just going to make it worse. Cut. If you can ban them, if you can block them, get them out, remove them.
Don't support them if it comes down to that too.
Don't support them, and if other people
don't listen to their music. Don't look at their art.
Yeah, and if other people are coming out saying no, it's fine. Well, now you have a new thing to confront and repeat the process.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, at that point, now you're getting to, second level, third level, and each one is like, okay, usually one person does bad thing, second person defends the person doing the bad thing. The second person can now be the ignorant one that you have to check for. And it's like, okay, maybe they just don't understand.
But if they show this, they seem to like, oh, I'm sorry, the genuine, they're like, oops, my mistake, I screwed up. If they seem to genuinely apologize for it, then cool.
Yep. And that is one thing I personally believe that no one is 100% above redemption.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of scale and what it would take.
But the thing is,
I always want to give them a chance, but I also don't want to give them an opening to hurt me at all cases and hurt other people. So you have to draw a line.
You also have to look in how, like, things like, again, sometimes a lot of people who are being malicious will make an apology because they know that will get them out of trouble for apologies.
Yep. How many times have they done this and said sorry and then never changed?
Yeah. How many times? Look at things like wording. Like a lot of things, that's sincere versus insincere apologies. Sincere apologies will, acknowledge fault and, an endeavor to change. Insincere ones will shift the fault to the person who called them out.
I'm sorry you were offended.
That thing, that in particular, I'm sorry, or I sorry offended others, or whatever. There's a thing. If the apology looks very particularly corporate.
Yes.
Be wary right there.
Sometimes it might still be, but chances are that's not an apology. That's oh crap, people are mad at me. This is going to hurt me, so I have to hide this. Get this under the rug so I can get
this dealt with so people stop hounding me on this.
Yeah.
Of course, there's also the thing you got to possibly look for, which is timing. If they were just completely silent and did no apology until all of a sudden their Patreon subscribers started dropping or something, and then they apologized, that's a red flag.
Yeah, it's like, you're only sorry because you're losing money, aren't you?
Yeah, that sort of thing. So that's another. That doesn't happen that often on a personal level. It's usually more of a corporate thing, but it does happen.
That's usually, I don't know if I've seen that yet on an individual level.
I have seen people who they didn't apologize till their Patreon numbers started dropping.
Right.
Then they apologized, and then their numbers went up again. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little difficult, and sometimes it's just simply, okay, they apologize, it seems sincere, but now you're going to kind of you can't really trust them now. Unfortunately, you have to kind of keep an eye on things. Just
call it a probation period.
Yeah, exactly, and I think a good example of this is James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah, way many years ago, he made a kind of gross tweet. People called him out on it. He did apologize, and it seemed just sincere. And then since then, he hasn't repeated that behavior. He hasn't done that. And again, he didn't make anything similar to that. He's been was pretty clean.
Yep.
And then people dredged up.
Yeah,
because they don't like him because he insulted, God Emperor Trump or whatever.
Oh yes, that one.
That's pretty much what it was. That's pretty much what it was. They got upset because he criticized their idol right now, their current idol, and so they decided, oh look, he said this thing 7 years ago. Let's get him fired.
And unfortunately, that works.
Yeah, it worked
because there is another thing that does unfortunately tend to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is unique to the left. I don't know if the right does it. I don't pay attention to the right wing internal discussions.
No.
But it does seem to be something that's unique with the left, is that we seem really, really eager to attack ourselves about the little things. It's not as big as it seems. I know this is probably one of those vocal minority things, but there does seem to be a degree of people that really like to see the smallest slight and immediately go on the attack, just digging up whatever they can on even people on the left just to go after them.
Yeah. To a degree, it's not as bad.
It's not as bad as it looks, because I know there's not as many that do it, but it does come up.
But there is kind of
really bugs me.
Yeah. Sometimes this is what you're bringing up is a little bit different in a way. But what happened there was that it was people on the right wing bringing up some left wing. They don't give a crap that he said that thing.
No, but it makes. But it also brings a whole bunch of people on the left latch onto it and go after him as well.
Yeah, and that's an actual right wing.
It's a tactic they use because we are vulnerable to it.
Yeah, but the thing is, some people, what it is they just are it doesn't matter to them how big or small it is. It's just you screwed up, you're done. And some of it I can understand because like when you personally are suffering through a lot of this stuff, when it's a personal thing, it's not just because it's the right thing to do, it's because you personally suffer this constantly. It becomes difficult to deal with it even on a small level like that. It's like, no, I'm not even dealing with this. And I can get that because if
there are things out there that if it has affected you personally, like
racism when you're black, or say someone gave you a death threat. Yeah, then when it gets that personal, I can understand why the next time it happens, you're just nope. There's no forgiveness, nothing. Nope, they're cut immediately. I don't care.
But don't go after other people when they don't follow your cut and run.
I also want to add, it's not a minority person's responsibility or burden to educate the majority on these issues, really. It shouldn't have to be their thing at all. That's not really on them. It's a lot of nuance here, and we don't have time or ability to really discuss it to the degree. Some of it's going to come down to a little bit of gut feeling.
A bit, yep.
Some of it's going to come down to how recent was it. Like, if it was in the last year or two, yeah. If it was like 7 years ago, or, God forbid, when they were a teenager.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure there's artifacts from when I was a teenager on the internet that someone could use against me if they really wanted to dig.
Yes, we all.
And I'll be like, I was a dumb teenager.
Oh yeah, a lot of us were dumb teenagers. I mean, most of us teenagers. That's dumb teenagers and oxymoron.
It's part of growing up. You're going to be dumb for a while.
Yes, almost all of us have skeletons in our closet. We all have things that we've done that we're not proud of, and if you do some digging, you're gonna find it. Do those things represent who we are now, though?
Yeah.
No.
And also know this. No matter what, there are going to be people who dislike you for dumb reasons.
Yes.
There's always going to be someone who's going to say, you did a thing 8 years ago, and because of that, I would never want to talk to you. No matter what, there's always going to be someone who just doesn't like you. And you're going to have to just accept that. Even if you're a really good person and whatnot, it doesn't matter to them. You screwed up 8 years ago. And that was that. Some of it's kind of weird sometimes. But yeah, there's not much you can do about it. But yeah, just and also just understand for some people, they're gonna be more sensitive to these things than you are. And I would also recommend against trying to tell someone if it personally affects them. Don't try to tell them that they're wrong. It's a little. It's a really sketchy thing in general. That's the problem. Is a lot of this stuff is really gray and really difficult to parse, and it's going to be a lot of it's going to be case by case by case.
Like I said. People are messy.
Yeah. And, so it's going to be, sometimes you're just going to have to look at the situation. Yeah. And I know this is sometimes hard, but try not to make snap judgments when you can. If you can take some time to think about it and look at it and try to do that. But snap judgments sometimes are necessary, but other times, yeah.
Yep. Snap judgments, you should always try to avoid it, but sometimes time doesn't allow you to. But you need to understand when you are making a snap judgment and be ready to adjust your judgment because it was a snap one when further information is revealed. There's one thing I've always come up to. There's always more information. Things are never as simple as you want them to be or they appear.
Yeah.
There is always more complexity going on. The real question is the further complexity necessary
or relevant
to your decision?
Sometimes relevancy.
Sometimes you can there's a threshold. Everything has a certain amount of complexity to it. It varies, but it's almost always more than it appears at first. But there's a threshold, I would think, where you don't need any further information and deeper knowledge for making a proper decision. We all make assumptions, and but understand that sometimes there's more information. Yeah, so this whole thing, what do we do?
Watch Griffin the Brush Off.
Griffin the Brush Off.
That's the big one. No, watch that. Again, we're kind of going a little long at this point.
Yeah, well, I knew we were going to go long.
But Griffin the Brush Off is a big one. That's kind of shows you, hey, look, a toxic relationship needs to be cut. They dash cut Gilda out of her life.
Yep.
because Gilda was being toxic and just saying
and no, it was not responding either. She was digging in.
She dug in instead.
Yep.
So took it out. Later, Gilda did repent and Dash let her back in, but
there was a little bit of a probationary period too.
It wasn't
like, okay, I see your apology. It seems decent. So we'll work together while we watch to see how sincere that apology really was.
And the other thing, which bringing up real quick, which is the whole thing. I've seen this brought up. You're gatekeeping. You're keeping people out. I thought this was supposed to be. I thought this thing we were supposed to love and tolerate. And it's like
love and tolerate.
Here's the thing. There's a concept called the paradox of tolerance.
Yep.
Yes, in which a truly tolerant society cannot survive when you tolerate intolerance. You cannot tolerate intolerance. You have to kick them out. You cannot let them have a voice. Because otherwise, they'll work within and destroy it all. That's the gist of it.
Unlimited tolerance must lead to the disappearance of tolerance. If we extend unlimited tolerance even to those who are intolerant, if we are not prepared to defend a tolerant society against the onslaught of the intolerant, then the tolerant will be destroyed and tolerance with them.
Yes, there you go. See, so yeah, that's the
Karl
thing is
Popper.
If you get real disgusting ideas, just let them fester like we have as a fandom. They pop up like this.
We have ignored and let 4chan and the MLP board on 4chan just sit, and we've just said, oh, it's just a side thing. They're not a big problem. They are a problem, and those who work within that circle and who are acting racist within there continue to fester and grow. We can't let that happen.
Yeah. We have to call it out when we see it.
We cannot let it continue further in the forum. When it starts escape, because we can't stop 4chan as a board. We have no power there. It would be great, but that's never going to happen. It's way too big, way too powerful. But we can catch when they start bringing that into other communities, other online communities and such like that. They show up in your forums. They show up on Twitter. You can block them. You can call them out. If they show up on your forum, you can ban them. If they try and show up and bring it to a convention, you can bar them from the convention.
That's the thing. That's going to be some of this going to be hard.
And let them know it is not easy,
especially when people in power are refused to go along with it. Like,
yes,
we've seen this where conventions just let bad people through because
it's a messy situation that they just want to ignore.
Yeah,
or they are part of the group.
Yeah, or they're part of it. Yeah, there's more than one convention which people up high in the rankings kind of are in that part of the community. Unfortunately, but that's the thing is you kind of have to push like on this stuff. There's gonna be a lot of pushback. It's gonna be a long fight. It's not gonna be real easy. It's gonna be constant. You're gonna have to say call it out. You're gonna have to push on it. If conventions announce bad people, you're gonna have to say, hey, that's not cool. You can't do. You're gonna have to call them out on it. You have to do stuff like you might have to sacrifice your plans of going to that convention.
Yeah,
and just not support them.
It hurts sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna have to make a sacrifice, but you're gonna at certain points you're gonna have to go beyond just words.
There's also gonna be those things
have some action.
Unfortunately, some of this is gonna come down to those online friends you made through the fandom. Some of them are gonna spout off some horrible things, and
you might have to break a friendship.
Yeah, and it's going to suck.
It is, and no one wants it. We're not saying that you should.
It's going to hurt more if you let that toxic friendship fester.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah,
if you ignore it, it will only get worse.
If you just let it through. I mean, yeah, you can just call it your friends on it. Like, hey, that's not cool, dude. Whatever.
And that's if they're your friends, you're in one of the best positions to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who know you, or friends, are going to respond to each other because there's a connection that you have that they're not going to really want to break either. And if they do want to break it, well, then they weren't your friend to begin with.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you're going to have to do that. And you might have to say, hey, I think you said something pretty messed up. And that's the thing. That's going to be one of those things. If they're willing to change from that, sure, great. That's awesome. You helped.
That's what you want.
Yeah, that's the ideal scenario is they learn from it and move forward from there. But if they seem to just be like, no, it's just a joke, and it's just dark humor, you don't get it, I guess, or they start mocking you or whatever while pulling away, then
yeah,
or they just keep making it, or just they respond to that with just more racism or whatever, then
At some point, you may have to reevaluate your friendship with them.
And might have to cut them off entirely, in which case, then probably there's a chance they'll badmouth you behind your back, and that's going to be that. If
they do that, they were never your friend to begin with.
Yeah, it's going to suck sometimes. It's part of this process hurts, and then it's going to be some weird stuff. It's going to be stuff your favorite convention might just have horrible things in it.
Yeah.
That when you find out about it, you're going to have to make the decision of, am I going to go again, or am I just going to stop giving them money?
Yep. And sometimes it sucks because, sometimes you may not have any other conventions to go to. You may lose a huge part of what made you happy. And I get it. I get why that's terrifying.
That's the thing the good news is a lot of these places will, even if it's not necessarily for the right reasons, they'll often buckle because they know how bad it looks when, major pony convention has massive racist as a community guest or whatever.
Yep.
They know it looks bad.
Yeah. So even if they don't agree with the people saying that's a bad thing, when they see what's going to happen when they do
they will virtue signal.
Oh, jeez. There's another one of those euphemisms.
Yeah.
But this is not easy to deal with.
Yeah.
But it needs to be
our discussion is nowhere near.
Oh, God. We are merely scraping the surface. And when discussing this episode beforehand, we spent 3-4 hours talking about stuff. We do not have time in a single podcast to get through all the nitty gritty.
Yeah. And we don't want to spend half a year talking about it either.
Yeah. So there's a problem. In short, there's a problem in this fandom primarily based around racism right now.
But there's general bigotry.
Yeah, general bigotry. It seems to be festering out of 4chan. But it's not just resorted. Reddit's not great either. Even those who aren't associated with either ones, it's still there. There's a problem. We need to deal with this.
Yeah, follow example, the furry fandom, they dealt with this pretty well.
I saw that. It popped up in the furry fandom, and I saw what was happening, the similar things that were happening here, where you get people calling it out, people defending it, but the people defending it suddenly got a lot quieter, and now we're not seeing as much. It's not the
they
Nazi furries seem to be disappeared. It worked.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a fun one, which is when you see it in person.
Yeah,
there is no that point that the safety of being behind a screen is not there, and now that's where it gets kind of scary.
Walking around with a swastika on their arm in person.
Yep,
someone's gonna get punched.
Yep, I am pro Nazi punching.
I don't like throwing fists, but I sure won't stop someone else from doing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, on the podcast show notes, there should be a bunch of links and whatnot to Lootmaster's threads, video series, which you should I highly recommend watching.
I hadn't seen that until you recommended it to me, and it was amazing. It's long, but it's definitely.
The thing is, it's individual series. They're about 20 or 30 minutes.
There's some 40-minute episodes.
For the most part, they're pretty much about. Yeah, they're not too bad, but it's a really good series to watch because it really helps you with a lot of this stuff on how to spot it, how to confront it, all that stuff.
Yep. It's very good. I wish we could talk more about this, but we are out of time.
Yeah, way out.
Yeah.
Real quick, though, before we wrap this up, I wanted to say that racism and other forms of bigotry are not necessarily a right-wing problem, per se. While it is fairly predominant on the right anymore, left people on the left wing and moderates and whatnot do also themselves have problems with different forms of bigotry and whatnot. We do still see it, unfortunately, and it just is a thing. Regardless, it's one of those things that racism and other forms of bigotry are a thing that crosses ideological lines, and so there is that.
So, really quick before we end it, we do have a tiny little bit of fan content to go through. I have got one song that I really wanted to feature, so I will quickly do that. It is TCB's "Friends Can Change the World." This song is absolutely incredible. The intro, there's this intro piano bit right at the beginning. It reminds me of something, and I can't quite place it. I keep want to think like Undertale or Porter Robinson. Either way, I don't know. It's great. I love it. But it quickly changes. The entire song is just, it's hard to pin down what like genre. It kind of switches between a few. The opening up with this like staccato bass and vocal chops is just excellent. Switching over to this heavy bass vocal chops with this effect, almost like lo-fi effect. It's so good before it switches into this punchy D and B. And the ending, I don't know how to describe that ending. That I wanted like a spinning, like almost like a rotor blade spinning up where the chopping speeds up.
Yeah.
It gives me like this visual of like those little rotor toy. You spin them up and they fly away.
Yeah, and into the fireplace.
Well, not into the fireplace, just up and away, because it gets loud and fast and then fades out at a high pitch. The whole song is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. To add on a little bit, yeah, large chunks of it are very, very just harsh electronic sounds for large chunks of it. And there's also some more subdued, more flowy parts as well, particularly in the middle, about like I think the 2.5 minute mark.
It's very good.
Yeah.
That's the only song. Fanfics?
Yeah. Fanfics. Nothing new. Something did update. Second Chance's redemption story updated for the first time in almost a year.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. After rumored Adagio Dazzle has now hit rock bottom. She was going to Crystal Prep and everything. Now she's not. Now she's with Twilight's family and getting help, like both physical and emotional.
Yep.
And yeah, they're gonna go basically take Abacus Cinch down.
Yay. Things might be starting to get better.
Yep, that was. We remember the author said last time was she has hit rock bottom. Things can only go up from here.
Yep. Sometimes you might have a remission, though.
Who knows?
Might go my head. Yeah.
Anyway, that's another chapter of a thing that I featured.
So that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. I'm quite certain there's going to be a lot that didn't, but I hope most people did. If you did and you want to hear all of our other episodes, you can find them all at Pony411.
We usually don't get this heavy, though.
Yeah, usually it's a lot lighter than this. So yes, you can find all of our episodes, past, future, present, at pony411.libsyn.com. Remember, that's spelled Libsyn. Go there, find everything, RSS links. You can even comment on them there, too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Via Facebook.
Yep. You can also find us on a number of other places, such as iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.com. Just search for Pony401. On Google Play, you have to go to play.google.com/music. Then search for Pony401. You can find us. But we are there. We are also on YouTube, youtube.com/pony411. All our episodes are there, so like them, comment on them, let us know what you thought, and make sure to subscribe to us and click that bell icon to get notified when new episodes go up. You can also find us on Ponyville Live with all of the other shows there when the site is actually working. And we also air on Ponyville FM every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, so tune in then or tune in whenever else, because it's a great place to find and listen to fandom music and live DJs and stuff. They're pretty cool. If you would like to get a hold of us, you can email us. We are pony411podcast@gmail.com. So send us comments, criticisms, suggestions. Tell us what you thought about this episode. Just try to be civil. If you want us to look at something, like that's how we were notified about the comic to talk about, we will take a look. Can't guarantee anything, but we will take a look at it. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/pony401. Go like our page there. We post whenever updates happen. We are also on Twitter @pony411. Follow us there, tweet us there. Great place to just say hi and whatnot, and what other nonsense Twitter is known for. You can also follow us on our personal Twitter accounts. I am Alca7raz with a 7 instead of a T and an underscore at the end. And they are at Nemesis Prime 1. So follow us, tweet us, say hi, whatnot. We're there. See whatever we tweet whenever we happen to tweet. That brings us to the end of the episode. Again, hope you liked what you heard. Hope you tune in next month when we decide to talk about something else.
I think we'll just do a season 2 episode.
we might have a breather.
Just a bit of one.
A breather for this. So, until then, remember, please pony responsibly. See ya.
Bye.